Hey, it is Jake. How are you guys doing? I hope this podcast finds you well. If not, I hope it puts you into a better mood. So, today we are going to talk about OnlyFans, but first, I want to jump into a few smaller topics. We don't want to get to the meat too soon. So why am I starting this podcast and who the hell am I? So my name is Jake, as I've already said. You may know me from my TikTok. If you don't, check me out. It's at RealJakeLX. I'm literally JakeLX on everything else. Someone was using my username. I don't know why. It doesn't look like it's an active account, which really sucks. Anyway, so I'm starting it because I really enjoyed talking, and I had a podcast in the past, and it's done, it's over with. You can't find any of the episodes, and that's cool. I learned a lot from it, but it really wasn't a representation of who I was. So, and who I am now. And then a lot of people, when I've done live chats and everything, have been like, we really want you to do a podcast. And so I was like, okay, let me, you know, think about it. And then I was like, okay, let's do this. So here we are. It is Hey, it's Jake. And it's just simple. It's literally me. I do plan on eventually having some guests. And it's just going to be me talking about a few little small topics, a little opinion here and there, and then a big story. So, my first, big or little story that I want to talk about is TikTok. It is an amazing platform. And of course, we have all this. Is it gonna, be purchased or is it gonna be banned? And so I've heard a few things. I heard that Apple apparently is interested in purchasing it. I've heard that obviously Microsoft, that's been everywhere. And then the one that I thought was the most interesting was it came out this week that Twitter may be interested. Now they purchased Vine and they closed it in 2017 because they weren't sure how to monetize it. And I just think that that's really interesting because they easily could have done what TikTok's doing. But I read something, they were like, well, back in 2017, 2 years ago, or sorry, 3 years ago, having advertisements and the way we do like how Instagram has them and how like TikTok has them in the feed really wasn't being done. And so people really would have complained. They kind of eased us into that kind of format. And I kind of agree there, and I see that could be a potential reasoning why Twitter, probably thought about it. But it was like, well, we don't want to, piss off the user base. Anyway, so I think it'd be interesting. It is cool that when you share a TikTok's link, it shows the thumbnail, like the preview and everything on Twitter. Love that because, like YouTube, they block it out. And Instagram, they block it out, even pictures from Instagram. And so it could be a good thing. I'm kind of wary of Microsoft. They obviously haven't had a good track record of purchasing uh, platforms and then keeping them going. So it's a little, thing. I was starting to think that TikTok really could go away. That it's going to take like a year to transfer over all the algorithms and AI and everything. And even then, whoever purchases it is going to have to like look through and make sure there's no like secret lines of code that the Chinese government has forced ByteDance to put it through. I don't know. We will see what happens. I don't know. Right now it's the best. I've never grown faster on anything. So if you're looking for a social media, it's still like super fast. People were comparing it to kind of Instagram back when it first started. And I wasn't really trying to grow my following on there. I was just posting silly pictures and always using the Valencia filter. And that's all I was doing. So I don't really know, but I don't really recall really growing ever like huge like on Instagram. So I was on it since the very beginning. So I don't exactly think it is comparable. I don't think we've seen an app with this much growth potential for literally anyone. Your grandmother could get a TikTok and she'd be able to grow. It's really an amazing thing. So anyway, my next thing I want to talk about is voting. So, as we all know, Joe Biden announced Kamala Harris as his vice presidential candidate pick. And, there's people out there, like, they're very angry about it. And they're, really, the progressives, like, here's how I feel about the election in general. I'm progressive. It's 2020. there's a good chance that I wouldn't have been happy if Obama had been elected right now. Like, things change, things have gotten more progressive. His platform probably isn't really that he ran on in 2008. Now in 2020 is probably not that progressive. So I'm thinking about Joe Biden and I'm like, he's not very progressive. But I saw something the other day and it said that you want to vote when you're only given two options. Because, like, unfortunately, the U.S. is set up only for two parties. Third parties and independents and write-ins, they just steal votes from whoever ends up losing, basically. That normally is what happens. And so, look at Hillary last time. It was just a mess. And I don't think people really thought that Trump was going to get elected. But anyway, regardless, did I use that word right? Irregardless? Whatever you think, like, you gotta vote what's closer to you. And I have to think that true Republicans and Democrats together, and everybody who's not for Trump and his policies, Joe Biden has to be closer to what you want, closer to what America was. Like, I did feel like with Obama, we were getting better. Like, his last term, I mean, I voted for him twice. He was the first president I got to vote for. He was, like, sending things in the right direction. And then 2016 happened, and it's like, we have went backwards. And it is sad. And I hate it so badly. And I don't think that Biden's going to be a real, like, push forward. But I do think he will get us back on track. And it seems like there are a lot of Republicans who are willing to accept Biden. And I think, like, I kind of feel like I've been jokingly saying that Biden's really a Republican president. Because, like, all the people I know who are, like, younger and who are, like, more progressive, we wanted Elizabeth Warren, or we wanted, like, Bernie Sanders. Like, we didn't want Biden. Like, it's hashtag settle for Biden. And, you know, but I'm going to vote for Biden because he isn't Trump, and he will get us closer back to that, to the America we know, so that we can hopefully then, after this term, get someone in there who's more progressive. Of course, now Kamala Harris is in there. I'm not exactly thrilled about her. Again, there was other, you know, if they wanted an African-American woman, I feel like there were other women that could have been chosen for the job. But whatever, it's been done, and you gotta vote. If you're not registered to vote, you need to register to vote. If you're doing a mail-in ballot, you need to get it requested and get it mailed in as soon as possible, because of everything going on with the USPS that I will not get into on this episode. But you got to. Like, I personally am all for mail-in voting, but I do not trust whatever is going on with the USPS right now and what Trump could potentially do with the mail-in ballot. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do a mail-in ballot. Luckily here in Tennessee, we have early voting, and I'm going to go, and there's never been a huge crowd. Even last year of, like, 2016 of record attendance, there still wasn't a huge crowd. So I'm planning on not sitting in a mail-in vote, and that's kind of scary. Like, I feel like I'm risking, you know, coronavirus. But it's worth it if everyone gets out and votes. And voting for Kanye, or voting for, you know, a write-in, or for, you know, an independent that pops up, like, I guess Kanye would be an independent, but, like, voting for them is just stealing votes from Biden, and it's going to get Trump reelected. And it's like, if us younger people, the millennials and the Gen Z that is eligible to vote, can go and vote, we can make a huge difference. Together, we're like the biggest voting bloc. But the problem is, and the reason why Bernie Sanders is not our candidate right now, is because we do not go out and vote. It's sad, it's kind of embarrassing, and it needs to change. But I'm not here to scold you. So anyway, if you guys want to follow me on anything, personally, I'm at JakeLX on everything. And you can also follow the podcast. I couldn't really get Hey It's Jake, because that actually was taken, which shocks me that the social media handles are gone. But the podcast is like a very unique name and like shows up in searches super easily. Anyway, it's everything for it is at It's Jake Pod. So you can follow literally I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I don't know the game plan. I still have to set things up. I don't have everything. I have a newsletter. Like if you guys want to go to let's see, what is it? If I still have it up. It's jakeofficial.com/hey it's jake podcast. You can sign up for the newsletter. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I have a Patreon if you want to support the podcast. That is amazing. That's patreon.com/jakelx. It kind of supports all my creative endeavors, but I really want to make this podcast something that like is conversational, where like I have people like email in like stuff, and like you guys like get a say, like you can email me and everything. And so, I mean, if there is anything you want to, have an opinion on about any of the stories I go over, or you just want to, just want someone to notice you, let me know that it's okay to share it, and I'm going to share it on future episodes. It's currently, if you want to do that, it's email heyitsjake@gmail.com. So check that out and email me. Like, I want this to be a community that grows, and I want this to be a podcast that like has more than just an episode every single week. So with that said, let's talk about OnlyFans. So OnlyFans has been around for a few years now, and honestly, it's been known for nudity, for adult content, for amateur adult content to go up on there. So like literally anybody can post nudes. What's kind of cool about it is when you go to the home page, you have to create an account, and you don't see anything. So like people are afraid to like open links and stuff, and it's like you will not find that on there. You literally just get your login screen, and if you haven't like subscribed to anybody, you won't see anything. But what's funny is OnlyFans is like known for adult content, but there's like people who have podcasts on there. There's people who are like trainers. There's people who are like chefs. There's a bunch of different people actually on there. Not a ton, because I feel like OnlyFans has really been like been kind of like marketing themselves towards people who want to make the adult content, the amateur adult content. And so it kind of is like a Patreon alternative. And I feel like OnlyFans could overtake them, because OnlyFans actually lets you host video on there. Patreon, you have to host it somewhere else. You can only set like one price, which kind of sucks. But basically, it's like gated content. So like I told you guys, I have a Patreon. I have one where you can just donate. I have one where you can donate for YouTube and get extra content, and I have one that's just for the podcast. On there, you'd have to have separate accounts for all that, or just have it all together. And so that kind of sucks. But I think I literally was just telling my boyfriend last weekend when we were driving that I think OnlyFans is probably going to pivot and kind of start to advertise themselves more broadly. And the reason being is I just feel like that more and more it's got like that brand recognition, and like even though it's like with adult content, there's other people on there, and the site just is, I don't know, it's better than Patreon. Like it's like the TikTok of Patreon. It's very like smooth looking. It operates smoothly. There's not an app currently, which is kind of odd, but the mobile site works very well. I don't have an account on there anymore. I never posted any nudity or any adult content. I was just basically trying to do research and check it out, and it seemed like a great place. But I did test to see if people would follow me and stuff and kind of support me on there, and they would not. So I think it's just that stigma, and also they were possibly they were looking for adult content, and that wasn't what I was offering. So anyway, it is what it is. And I think what's really gonna make this like push this is Cardi B announced stuff for $4.99 a month. You can get exclusive, behind the scenes pictures that she, isn't going to post anywhere else, and other exclusive content. Now, she says that there's going to be no tits, ass, and vagina. So if you're going on there for her for that, you're not going to find that. And I think that this could be a real pivotal point where OnlyFans really becomes more than that. So a year from now, maybe I won't have Patreon and I'll have OnlyFans. I did see Patreon has said that they're coming out with new features soon, so hopefully this is forcing them to evolve. I feel like Patreon is really deeply rooted within the YouTube community, and that could be another reason why a lot of people didn't subscribe to my Patreon from TikTok, because I even had a few people say I don't know what Patreon is, and I was like, that's very interesting, but it is very ingrained in the YouTube ecosystem. So I really just wanted to talk about that because I really think we're going to see kind of this move away from the amateur, and there's even like professional porn stars on there, but it provides like an intimate, like, people can like tip you and stuff, and you can, they can ask for messages, like if they want a feet pic you can set a price, and if they give it to you you can then send up like a feet pic. I mean, you could do stuff with that with fans and all that, and really OnlyFans really could be the alternative for Cameo and all that. Like, it's kind of like all in one. Like, someone could just be like, hey, for $100 or whatever your price is, you can kind of name it, after they've already paid the monthly fee of whatever it is. They could go, can you do a shout out to my friend, or do a shout out for me that I can use on my social media, or do a birthday message. Like, so it kind of would, in a way, like do away with, like, do everything that all the Cameo and Patreon and all those kind of do. So I think it's kind of interesting, and I really think we're going to see it grow. And they're kind of in trouble right now because apparently they evaded their taxes or something over in Europe, which of course is a big, big no-no. So anyway, that is the neighbor's dog barking, and I can't do anything about it because we're in an apartment, and you can probably also hear the cricket outside chirping. Apologies. Anyway, so that's the first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to this podcast. It's not on every provider yet, as it is being, it's currently in the process of being added to like 15 different things. So as that goes live, I'll let you guys know. Right now it is on Podchaser, it's on Anchor, and it's also on Spotify and Blueberry, which is BLUBRRY. So anyway, again, if you want to go to jakeofficial.com, you'll see the Hey It's Jake podcast tab, and you can go there and you can see all the places that it will eventually be on, and I'm updating them live as I get the notification that they are live there. And then there's, again, is to sign up for my newsletter. I'm not going to spam you. And also, once again, if you want to comment and be a part of this podcast, which I hope you do, it's email heyitsjake@gmail.com, and I will read those. And just be sure to tell me what the episode number that you're referencing. Like, obviously this is the first episode, so that's easy, but as we get on and everything. And of course, if you want to support me on Patreon, it's patreon.com/JakeLX, and there is a podcast option or a general just monthly if you don't want the extra content. I put that on there because I know some people, like me personally, like I may want to support a creator, but I'm like, I don't want to pay like such a high amount because I'm not going to be using the exclusive content. So anyway, so thank you for listening, and I hope to see you here for episode number 2.